I saw the sky part like the Red Sea, the world is nervous. I saw the sun cry and bleed, the whole world is getting nervous. I saw my best friend become my enemy, ooh, I'm nervous. Well, everything ain't what it's supposed to be, you should be nervous. I trust no man on face value, name, or reputation. These are years in my face that came with education. The last of the thinkers have all but died out, or else studied the beast up close from inside out. From the streets we came, confused, abused creatures, suspended in the ether. Students without a teacher, gangs without a leader, aloof as to how we free the mind without the body. Should mobility stop? It just kills me how the game simply came and went. Yes, I'm guilty for still looking for my name in print. I spent a while out in the whatnots, the jokes on me. I even smiled in my mugshot to catch the moment. How much confusion have oppressors produced this year? The blind know not the difference between truth and fear. As with all things, one day I'll be gone from here, but not before I tell the world that John was here. I saw the sky part like the Red Sea, the world is nervous. I saw the sun cry and bleed, the whole world is getting nervous. I saw my best friend become my enemy, ooh, I'm nervous. Well, everything ain't what it's supposed to be, you should be nervous. Even here, amongst so many, I stand alone in search of a link between my actions and the way one thinks. Some essence of a connection in a world divided. I'm antithetical to rhetoric, federal propaganda that sends babies to war and tells them fight for the hell of it. You keep insulting my intelligence, like everyone outside of politics is some nitwit. We'll clash as long as phases of the moon are cyclic. I've seen you entertain your hedonism, breed in your elitism. You told me what I needed on a short list with freedom missing. I've been advised to play by the rules. That's if I ever want to see the light of day in the future. They'd rather see me soft shoe, shuffling and performing. You tell my brother I love him, I'll be home by morning. You tell my mothers I'm fine, and I'm ever theirs dearer. I'm stronger, more determined, and I've never thought clearer. Locked my body, can't trap my mind. Easily explained so I surpassed the time. How much confusion have oppressors produced this year? The blind know not the difference between truth and fear. As with all things, one day I'll be gone from here, but not before I tell the world that John was here. I saw the sky part like the Red Sea, the world is nervous. I saw the sun cry and bleed, the whole world is getting nervous. I saw my best friend become my enemy, ooh, I'm nervous. Well, everything ain't what it's supposed to be, you should be nervous. I lost it all, God, just to earn it again. I saw the doors and had to learn to come in, despite these dudes' intents to ride on my strength and hide what I lent. I can't forget the fact that devils just divided my men, and rather unlikely to the psyche, the worst devil is the one that looks just like me. Carry on, how much confusion have oppressors produced this year? The blind know not the difference between truth and fear. As with all things, one day we'll be gone from here, but not before I tell the world that John was here. I saw the sky part like the Red Sea, the world is nervous. I saw the sun cry and bleed, the whole world is getting nervous. I saw my best friend become my enemy, ooh, I'm nervous. Well, everything ain't what it's supposed to be, you should be nervous. You should be nervous. So, I didn't want to be that guy. What do I mean by that guy? So people came up to me and they said, so look, you're a rapper. Give me some advice. I want to make a record when I go home. How do I do it? And it was not just one guy approaching me. You know, it happened repeatedly. So I said to myself and to the population at large, I don't know anything about the music business. I'm no longer part of the music business. It took me a while, it took me a few months, but I distanced myself from acknowledging my former self. We used to say, you know, in prison, you can be anything. There were guys who had war stories. Man, don't you know back in 95, I had this and that, and I was doing this and that. That's cool. That's not what we're doing now. Man, but I'm telling you, man, I was, that's awesome. You don't eat that chicken? Okay, all right. By the way, I don't eat chicken anymore. I've given up on poultry. But I didn't want that reputation. I didn't want to stand around and talk about the music business. I didn't want to talk about who had more money, Jay-Z or P. Diddy. I didn't want to talk about, you know, the world tours. I didn't want to talk about what I had or what I was. I said, you know what? I don't want to be here. That's what I want. So I'm going to learn about the law. I'm going to go to the law library. I'm going to find a way out of prison. And I'm going to fight. And I fought hard. And I learned legalese, and I learned about cases, and I read the Criminal Law Reporter, and I surrounded myself with jailhouse attorneys. And I saw some guys get love. I saw some guys, you know, 20-year sentences beat their cases and come home in 8. And I'm like, oh man, 8 years, that's a long time. You lost 8 years though. No, I gained 12. You know, this is what they're telling me. I'm thinking to myself, well, look, I'm fresh here. There's no way I'm not gonna be here that long. My case looks great. Direct appeal, we file it. My appellate attorneys who've been paid now, very, very optimistic. Case looks great. This is a meritorious situation. Looking good. Well, we received word my first year in. It's been denied. All right, but there's still hope. We can go up to the circuit and file out 2255 for federal relief. It's looking good. Great. You've got new issues. It's great. You know, too many holes to stand up. A year later, denied. By this time, I'd lost my girlfriend. People had stopped writing. Not all people. I mean, I had people who supported me through the whole thing. But the sort of mystique, the novelty of it all had worn off. People had gotten used to the fact that, well, he's probably going to be there until 2014. So we'll send him a Christmas card, birthday card. We'll remember his birthday. I said, but I have one more shot. I can go to the Supreme Court. I can file my writ of cert. All right, filed it. A year later, denied. New evidence comes to pass. And this is my shot to get back in. The kingpin on my case recants his testimony. They find him, they being my attorney and a private investigator, find him, interview him. I've got this 38-page affidavit with him essentially saying, look, John didn't know everything that I said he knew during the trial. And yeah, you know, he was involved, but he wasn't my partner. And the only reason why I said it, I didn't think he'd get that much time, but I knew that I'd be able to get a lot less time, which he did. He got a lot less time. He even got enough of a pass to be able to abscond, and he fled to Canada, where they eventually caught up with him, and I think they gave him like another 6 months for that. So I'm thinking to myself, man, this is it. You know, I've got some new evidence to introduce. And we attempt to introduce it, and they said that it's not credible. This is a witness who is no longer credible. So I'm thinking to myself, he was credible enough to convict me, or to help lead to my conviction, but not to exonerate me, if you will. Well, at the helm of this entire fight is my friend, my spiritual mentor and spiritual godmother and guru, Carly Simon. Now, here's a woman who's got her own life to live, but has adopted me and my spirit as her fight, as her cause célèbre, if you will. She's got albums to promote, people looking to her for advice and whatever. And I'm speaking to her like, hey, so you're gonna be in Good Morning America tomorrow. That's awesome, promoting your new album, good luck. Look, I'm going to speak about you. What? No, don't speak about me, like, let it go, promote you. No, I've got to tell everyone. And it was crusade-like, her involvement. Little old my case. Her birthday had come around, and I didn't have anything to give her. So I wrote her a song. Are you coming up to? Thank you so much. Because it was about to get ugly. It's about to be all sorts of reports on Twitter. We saw him foaming at the mouth in the middle of a tune. It's awful. So emotional. Thank you. I'll wait for you. I work at Bob Evans. Bob Evans? Mm-hmm, the restaurant. Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. How are you going to leave it here? You guys don't know what you're in for now. I got the entire picture. I might just so you really feel like you're at a hip-hop concert. Oh, shit, just throw water on the masses. Make this really interactive. Tell me a story, angel, of your confession, your obsessions with this life. They all expect you to fly high now. You don't pretend to care. Just put some wind in your hair. If you like, you're more beautiful now than you've ever been. You've looked from afar on your hidden star and back again. You dance through graceful sadness, through liquid storms, and climbed your hill. You're more than a woman, more than a song, more than the reason that I carried on. Even still, you're more beautiful now than you've ever been. You've ridden from afar on your hidden star and back again. You dance your dance through graceful sadness, through liquid storms, and climb your hill. You're more than a woman, more than a song, more than the reason that I carried on. Even still, you're more beautiful now than you've ever been. You've ridden from afar on your hidden star and back again. So nothing seemed to, oh my goodness, we are running close to time. I'm looking at the powers that be. So I'm gonna try to be quick. Sometimes I get lost in my own narrative. And we had one final remedy, if you will, and that was to file for executive clemency. By this time it was 2006 was like mid-2005. I'd already been gone for more than 4 years. And I was what you call bidding. I was in my bid. Programming. What does programming mean? Programming is not an institutional phenomenon. Excuse me. It's when you, the inmate, decide to do things that aid the passing of time to your benefit. Because you can be in prison and watch television. I knew guys with 30-year sentences, and they were religious with the television. And I couldn't understand that. I said, my man, you have 30 years. How does Judge Judy captivate you enough to just accept 30 years? So, in 2006, we filed for executive clemency. And because it was the federal system, it could only come from the president. And it could come in two forms, by way of pardon or commutation. Well, if this looked like a sort of a bar chart, if you will, in terms of hope and expectations, from first appeal, hopeful, well, to second appeal, to third appeal, to the introduction of new evidence, to executive clemency. I mean, there's no, but you know what it was? It was something. And it was a ray of light. And I'd actually say it to, my friends. We'd walk the track, we'd work out, we exercised. And by this time, I'd really gotten myself together. And by that, I mean finding that balance between the spiritual, the mental, and the physical. I felt really good about me and what I could contribute. I was teaching classes. I'd returned to school. I applied to Harvard while I was away, and Harvard said no, to the surprise of so many. But they did say something else. They said, if you got into a good, reputable school, then we'd consider transferring you in. And I said, you know what? That's a victory unto itself, to even get them to consider that. So I applied to the London School of Economics. And by this time, the woman in the education department in the prison said, yeah, don't you think you're aiming a little bit too high? I said, well, with all due respect, is that what you tell your children? She didn't like that. She didn't like that at all. So a few months later, I'd gotten into the London School of Economics, and I began pursuing my undergrad, because I never finished at NYU, in politics and international relations. But somebody suggested to me, they said, John, you can't just do this on your own. There are a lot of good guys here who want that opportunity as well. So I began to teach the curriculum as I learned it, and we did ad hoc classes in critical analysis and critical thinking to share my lesson plans with the guys there, because they were as deserving, if not more deserving, than I. And I was playing with the institution band, and I was working with the volunteers to help make that place a better place. And I felt like I was doing something good. Eve Ensler contacted me, the author of the Vagina Monologues, and asked me to contribute a piece to her event at Lincoln Center. I did, and it was accepted, and it was read by Michael Eric Dyson at Lincoln Center. So, ironically enough, I never felt more connected to the world than when I was removed from it. And I didn't watch television. I'm reading The Economist, I'm reading the Wall Street Journal, I'm reading the Financial Times, I'm reading my books and attending classes and teaching classes and playing music and learning how to play the guitar and writing songs and reading. And I read War and Peace, and I read Anna Karenina, and I read the Brothers Karamazov. I didn't read the Iliad. I didn't read the Iliad. But I read a lot. And I actually read one of my favorite books, Are Prisons Obsolete by Angela Davis, which I've seen here tonight. And it's almost like a pamphlet. And I'd acquired a reputation in the joint. So whether you're a white-collar criminal, whether you're a seasoned criminal, if you will, a repeat offender, or a first-time nonviolent drug offender, more often than not, we spoke, we had some sort of interaction. And guys would come to me, and it was interesting because I had guys who were twice my age referring to me as, Mr. John, and asking for literature, and saying, I really want to read, but I don't know where to start. So that became my go-to book. I handed out the Angela Davis book, which was, much to my liking, it was actually autographed by Angela Davis. It was sent to me from someone who knew her. And I'd tell them, look, I'm gonna give you this book, start you off. But if I find one wrinkle in the page, you're gonna have an issue. Oh, and every time I got it back, it was pristine. But then I'd think, you didn't read this. No, I did read it, I took notes. All right. So we were able to start a dialogue and a serious discussion. So I'm at my bunk one day, I'm eating a tuna fish sandwich, and I have, and I'll just tell you how I read really quickly, or how I used to read. I used to read like I used to watch TV. You'd jump through the channels. So I would read a lot at once, and I'd have 2 newspapers here, 2 magazines here, 1 book here, and 1 something else here. So I'd read chapter, and people would look at me like, I was some weirdo creep. What are you doing, And I'm like, well, I'm just flicking through the channels. It's the same thing as what you do when you watch Judge Judy. And it's over and you go to something else. So I read chapter by chapter by chapter. So I'm sitting there eating a tuna fish sandwich. And my friend Lil D, he comes up to me. And he's from Brooklyn. We got along because he's from Brooklyn, I'm from Brooklyn. He says, John, you're not watching CNN? And I said, no. By this time, it was 2008. I said, I don't watch TV, D. Man, but the president is on TV. He's handing out commutations and pardons. Word. So I got up. And it was November the 24th, 2008. I went to the phone to call my then attorney. She picks up, accepts the call. I hear ambience in the background. The clinking of glasses and stuff. So, hey, you at a restaurant? Yes. Silence. Hello? She says, did you hear anything? I said, no, I just heard that the president was on television handing out pardons and commutations. Your name is on that list. I said, what? She said, we knew since this afternoon. We tried to contact you, but they wouldn't let us through. You'll be home within 30 days. And I fell silent, and I said, thank you. And I hung up the phone, and I walked very silently back to my bunk. And I went to one of my confidants, because you always have a confidant. Life is always best with a confidant. If you learn any life lessons, like, find a good confidant. And I went back to, and this is my dude Ramel. He's actually going to still be there for another 7 years. And I said, Ra, I'm going home. And he said, I know. We all are, baby. I said, no, I'm going home. He said, what? I said, yeah, in 30 days, man. It came through. The president commuted my sentence. Then he started saying a bunch of words that I won't repeat to this civilized audience, thinking I was pulling his leg. And I said, no, man, this is it. As we're having this conversation, someone comes up to me and says, what's your middle name? And I say, Edward. And he hugs me, because by this time NPR picked it up and they reported the 2 commutations. It was me and another fellow that day. And he hugged me, and then it just spread like wildfire through the prison. And everyone came up to me, is it true? Is it true? Are you going home? Yeah, I'm going home. I met a lot of good men there. some not so good men. I'm not standing on the soapbox to saying that everyone who's there is innocent or doesn't belong there. You know, that's not for me to decide. But what I do know is that there are a lot of good men there. And just as there are, I'm sure, many good women in their institutions. And this is a song that I dedicate to them. It's originally from Kate Bush, called Running Up That Hill, with my twist. If I only could make a deal with God and get him to swap our places, be running up that road, be running up that hill, be running up that building. Light up the firmament, the only constant is impermanence. You could say there was a turn of events through some divine laughter. Should it stay awoken, a chapter closed when the gates open. Resurrected on my 33rd, 7 years was sufficient, God. I memorized every word I heard. If my demise were for naught, may I learn anew another language more wise and then return to you. The sum of parts make us, so with God's graces. If your burden gets too heavy, may we swap places. I've been to hell and back, but never take it wrong. The fact remains that some will never make it home until we sit again, do this, that, and this again. Hold your head, to remember is the discipline. Until we sit again, do this, that, and this again. Hold your head. And if I only could make a deal with God and get him to swap our places, be running up that road, be running up that hill, be running up that building. This is cost risk analysis. Think before your dalliances. Let us build upon what balance is. Take heed as if you've been warned. Talk less, listen more, and improve your form. Don't get caught up in the cipher. The news is on. Pay attention to it. Too many crews are gone. How many apes does it take to defuse a bomb? That's why so many right-hand men lose an arm. When you see what you want to see, sideways don't perform for me. So when you speak, it's in front of me. Take me to your leader. For the sake of Peter, get it through your heads. Freedom doesn't make you freer until we sit again, do this, that, and this again. Hold your head, to remember is the discipline. Until we sit again, do this, that, and this again. Hold your head. And if I only could make a deal with God and get him to swap our places, be running up that road, be running up that hill, be running up that building. If I only could make a deal with God and get him to swap our places, be running up that road, be running up that hill, be running up that building. I have so many songs because I wrote a lot as well as read a lot. And there are any number of more tunes that I could do, or any number of tunes I could do. And I can't because of time. That thing that haunts me, time. But there are at least two more that I want to do, if that's okay with the audience out there, at least two, if that's okay. I know that you guys have stuff to do like homework and sports, but if I could just keep you for a couple more tunes, that'd be great. And I'm sure there are some questions, and I hope to provide the answers for you as well. So, on December the 22nd, 2008, I came home after serving a little bit more than 7 years in a federal prison. And I returned to the business. I returned to making music. I was given an opportunity to write my memoir, which I'm in the process of doing right now. I'm 30-something who thought I'd be writing a memoir. Certainly not I. It's not as effortless, if you will, as writing a song. Prose can be the bane of my existence. I'm haunted by all of my literary teachers who used to fill my papers up with their red correction marks. Stay focused. You've fallen off the path. What are you trying to say here? Show, don't tell. All of those things. But I also had the opportunity of working with a great organization called In Arm's Reach, which is located in Harlem. And its focus, the focuses are children of the incarcerated. So I taught a class last spring called Music as Catharsis to 12 to 17-year-olds, maybe 40 of them. And then, either one or both parents of these children were in prison. And these are young people with very valid thoughts. But they don't often know the value of their voice because they're not really encouraged to use their voices. So I offered them something that helped me through the years, which was expressing yourself through art. But I realized early on that, all of them weren't necessarily interested in writing a song, but some of them were interested in entrepreneurship, so they would help with the promotion and the marketing of the song. Some were interested in directing, so they would help with the actual video. Others were interested in, I don't know, you get the point. But through one song, we were able to have what I think were very inspiring conversations. And I learned a lot from them. I'm sure I learned a lot more from them than they learned from me during that course. But we walked away from that with a terrific song. Of course, when I told them at the end of the song that they would not sell this, that they would give this away for free, they were mad. What? We want to get paid. I said, I know you want to get paid. But there are different ways of getting paid than monetarily. You're telling your story right now, and somebody might really need to hear that story. And even though they were still kind of huffing and puffing, they acquiesced, and we were able to get that song out there. Suffice it to say that the music business is much, it's very, very different nowadays than it was when I left so many years ago. But these days I don't need to be on the top 10 list of anything. These days I don't need to be a platinum recording artist. These days I don't need to fly private. These days I need to sing these songs that came to me during some of the most trying times of my life, having spent more than 20% of my life in prison, now having the opportunity to tell this story predominantly through music. It's something that I don't take for granted, I don't take lightly. That said, I'm actually going to do one more song, and it's my favorite song, and it pretty much sums it up. It's called The Breaking of a Man, and it was the last song that I wrote while I was in prison, before I knew. I wrote the song about a week before I found out that my sentence was commuted, and it was me finally saying, I'm going to be okay. Even before I knew I was coming home, I'd reached a point where I said, I'm going to be okay, and this is not going to be my legacy. And a week after I wrote this song, I got the news. So it remains my favorite song for many, many reasons. I know you've seen the breaking of a man. You've taken all you can, as if the house we made was laid across the sand. Oh Lord, penalties for suffering can seem so hard. Dreaming the days when everything's so dark. Tried to walk good, where does that road start? Show. I, John, thought exercises sought out to advise and add on. I changed the thinking you so proudly had on. This mobilizing effort, it picks up from where the best of the best came and left it. The treasure of truth, I mix drinks within a booth that can't be measured with youth. I break 11 with the 7 and let whatever produce my past estrange the light. If change is right, you can say the judge killed me. Then I came to life, a newborn like a neophyte. Fruitful love from the tree of life. This is the letter I don't need to write. Peace, Selah, bless the stars. If I don't breathe tonight, if I don't save you from yourself, maybe Jesus might. What I envision is better, steady, higher living from this system, though some dudes might be dead already. I graduated from a school where the minds varied to hold a burden known to those that only time carries. This cherry blossom, a martial artist, studied the chi, written on gossamer, tutored by philosophers demonstrably. I deconstruct the subpar and put them back together like the monsters are. How you want it? Obvious or subconsciously. If every man has a price, who sponsors me? You should do more than just drink responsibly. You see, even in the mountains, Lord John was free. I know you've seen the breaking of a man. You've taken all you can, as if the house we made was laid across the sand. Oh Lord, penalties for suffering can seem so hard. Dreaming the days when everything's so dark. Tried to walk good, where does that road start? Show. As fate would have it, they would have me talking savage, like the average among us, and not confined to the youngest. I'm like the magical healer / masterful builder. I know the riddle of steel is in the hands of the wielder. They tried to shatter my leader, do bad to the breather, for living page 27 from the Bhagavad Gita. So when his time stopped, where he lay, read I'd rather be hated for what I am than loved for what I'm not. You can't subtract logic. I put tulips on his grave and waxed philosophic to the words he gave. Read my lips, it's a new day running. And it ain't coming cause it's here for the taking. This has been years in the making. I spent years in a station waiting to make this entrance. I'm here to free the world, young star. What's your intention? This is warfare, youngin'. The lightning is flashing now. Tune in and let's see what's happening now. One way or another, it's going down. I know you've seen the breaking of a man. You've taken all you can, as if the house we made was laid across the sand. Oh Lord, penalties for suffering can seem so hard. Dreaming the days when everything's so dark. Tried to walk good, where does that road start? Show. But I want to thank the university. I want to thank Mboka, a scholar and a gentleman, for choosing me, of all people, a convicted felon from Brownsville, Brooklyn, who read a few books, to come and speak to you. It's a real honor and it's a real privilege to be here. And even before anything else, I just want to thank you guys for sitting through that and listening. And thank you very, very much. Thank you, Mboka. Thank you, Mboka.